Hello, everybody. This is Stephanie at Perucci Publishing, and today is part 3 of how to write a best-selling nonfiction book that's not a bore. The reason we're going through this 4-part series is because a lot of people understand how to write a book. A lot of people who write books maybe did well in school in writing, reading, whatever, but they're not understanding the critical marketing aspect of a book. Fundamentally, if you're writing a book that takes a bird's eye view and it's rather generic, no one's going to read it. You want to really focus on writing your book for a small, responsive niche or audience. So today, let's talk about 5 of the 20 different ideas that I have in this 4-part series for how you can write an engaging nonfiction book that's not a bore. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment because I will respond to your comments as soon as I see them come in. So, the first thing you want to do to write a nonfiction book that's not a bore is I want you to consider finding an answer that you weren't looking for. A lot of authors want to write memoirs about their whole life and their mom and their dad and their grandma, and it's very, very boring unless you're a famous celebrity. I'm just being honest with you. What you might want to do, though, if you're telling a story about yourself, just like my client, Dr. Kirti Sunder did, is rather show that you were on a path heading into one direction and then boom, you did an about face, a 180, because you found something very surprising that changed the course of your life. This is what I like to call writing a nonfiction book that exposes something. So for instance, Dr. Kirti was a surgeon and then a psychiatrist. So he had his MD, has his MD and his PhD, but then he realized that all he did was either work on someone at the point at which they were already quite sick and they could have prevented that sickness, or he's putting a Band-Aid on a psychological disorder. So Dr. Kirti, in his book, Soothe the Busy Brain, discusses how we can heal trauma before it manifests as physical and psychological illness in our bodies and minds. This is what I like to call the exposed. I was looking for something and then I found something, but it wasn't what I was looking for. The next great angle that you can take when writing your nonfiction book is to expose, again, the secrets of an industry. One of my soon-to-be clients, someone I'm working on assisting her with a game plan right now. Her name is Megan McGuff. She's a brilliant former investment banker. She's also a highly decorated Irish dancer. And she's going to reveal to us in the book, which we haven't yet written, she's going to reveal the fascinating underbelly of Irish dancing, secrets from the industry. How exciting is that? All we see are these very beautiful boys and girls and men and women, they're tapping and they're, doing their Irish dancing and it looks like so happy and joyful, but there is a dark side to the industry. And so Megan is going to expose that so that she can actually help protect Irish dancers in the future of an industry that is booming right now. She is also doing something brilliant with her nonfiction book, which is piggybacking a growing industry. So we also have authors writing in the political space who are piggybacking election season in November. That's a brilliant way to launch a book. You're launching a political book during a time when people are doing their research before they cast votes. Whether or not those votes get counted is another question. The next secret to writing a great nonfiction book that I want to tell you about today is the suspense story. I had a man recently who came to me for ghostwriting services, and the first line of his book is, "What I'm about to tell you could land me in a trunk. People want me dead, and they don't want me to tell the story that I'm about to tell you." The man just escaped after 5.5 months of unlawful imprisonment, and he is now facing 20 more years of imprisonment. And we are helping him get his story out there to save his family and his own life from 20 years of being imprisoned. How sexy is that first line of the book? What I'm about to tell you could land me in someone's trunk, and it's right now probably going to land me in jail. I'm going to expose a secret that they don't want me to talk about. Very, very exciting premise for a book. Who doesn't want to read that? I want to read it. I'm writing it and I want to read it. I can't wait. Well, my ghostwriters are writing it. I'm masterminding it. The next exciting way that you can write a book is you can tell the real story of maybe a crime or a celebrity. So I have a doctor who is writing a book right now. He is revealing the real story of how people treated I don't want to say the word because I'm going to get censored, a sickness, and how there was basically 100% efficacy in his treatment methods. And he also has had his life threatened for being a successful doctor and healer. Before his life is in too much danger, we're making sure that we get this book out there so that the world can know the truth and the healing power of the methods that this doctor has developed. I am being a little bit vague because you're going to have to read the book in order to get more information about this fascinating methodology that this incredible doctor is going to share with the world just in the nick of time. The final thing I'm going to talk about today is the dialogue story, or even the fable. So a lot of people want to write nonfiction books, and maybe they want to talk about selling skills or how to build a great website, or an author today that I worked with, he wants to talk about teaching. Boring. But what you can do to make these really interesting, kind of like what Patrick Lencioni did in his book, Getting Naked, which has nothing to do with sexuality, but it's a pretty sexy title, to talk about how an executive consultant had high conversions, high ROI in his business and in the businesses of his clients. That doesn't sound sexy, but the story Getting Naked caught attention. And instead of talking in a nonfiction expository way about his methodology for executive consulting, he told a story of a woman who was giving this great executive consulting to this business. And then the big bad villain was the corporate Harvard executive consultants, the McKinsey type folks. And they're like, how does this ragtag group of nobodies from community colleges do so well and close such big high ticket deals with their consulting? They're not Harvard trained like we are. And so it kind of gives the story of the hero being the community college nice guy, and the villains being the McKinsey Harvard folks in executive consulting. And it's a great story, and it's told like a fable. And so that is called Getting Naked by Patrick Lencioni. And it's a beautiful spin on nonfiction that takes something that's otherwise very boring, how to create a happy client, and turns it into a story with adventure and a villain and a good guy and a bad guy and a hero and a David versus Goliath. I hope today's video has blessed you, and you're going to write a best-selling nonfiction book that's not a bore to a small, responsive niche in a really creative way like what I've outlined for you today. Like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, get notified every time I have more gems for you about book writing, marketing, and publishing. This is Stephanie Perucci. Thank you for being here.